Hi, my name is Faith Horn, and this is my presentation on Maya Deren versus possession within the American culture. Here we go. Maya Deren versus the Merriam-Webster definition. Um, so I first want to start off basically saying that she defines possession broadly with the statement of just the white darkness. And on page 258, 259, she starts with this quote. It is when I turn as if to a neighbor to say, "Look, see how lovely that is," and see that the others are removed to a distance, withdrawn to a circle which is already watching, that I realize like a shaft of terror struck through me. That is no longer myself whom I watch, yet it is myself, for as that terror strikes, we are two made one again, joined by and upon the point of the left leg, which is as if rooted to the earth. Now there is only terror. This is it. Resting upon that leg, I feel a strange numbness. Enter it from the earth itself and mount within a very marrow of the bone as slowly and richly as sap might mount the trunk of a tree. I say numbness, but that is inaccurate. To be precise, I must say what even to me is pure recollection, but not otherwise conceivable. I must call it a white darkness. Its whiteness a glory, and its darkness a terror. Okay. And then we're going to go into the Webster definition, which I have here, which is the state of having, owning, or controlling something. I also wanted to talk about my thoughts on MSR's examples and versus my Darren. There was just themes that had popped up on both sides. Themes of rhythm, large gatherings, chanting, and just not wanting to be alienated at all. Is a funny gif. I'm sorry. But it's also from the Beatle Mania clips. You just see everybody just so enchanted and completely drawn to the Beatles, and whether it be the rhythm or the chanting, everybody is just very much under the spell. Possessed is, if you may. All right. And so what my brain just kept coming back and forth to was capitalism. Um, so that's kind of like what I wanted to talk about here in this presentation. I'm going to read the Webster Merriam definition of capitalism. Um, an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decision, and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in a free market. So in this slide, I wanted to talk about Maya Deren and how it relates to capitalism. Um, so basically, we are all possessed and pressured by society to achieve this American dream, right? By corporate America, of course. So a quote that stuck out with me with Maya Deren is, "Man must surrender himself." On page 249, we must surrender ourselves and become the working class just to survive. Um, and this rhythm, I attribute it to the schedule that we are forced to take on, this Monday to Friday working schedule that we have to keep up with. We must sleep, eat, and repeat it, basically. So we must surrender ourselves to this to survive in general, to get this American dream that we are led to believe exists. We just have to keep working harder, right? And one day we'll get that, right? I don't know. Someone that works and also goes to school. I definitely feel strongly with this topic. But to get this degree, I must go to work and I have to go to the school to get that degree so I can get that job and achieve that American dream, right? I'm possessed to do this. I wanted to relate this to Black Friday and the craziness and madness that comes with it. We're all possessed to achieve this new shiny thing, this new shiny toy. We got to have that new trend in technology. We got to get that deal. Um, we work in this capitalist society to earn money to survive, yet we give it back to get these things. All right, due to the possession that we endure, we soon become burnt out, or could possibly this could possibly lead to it. I suppose not everybody would experience it, um, but many of Americans are. Um, just from the study from LinkedIn in 2020, as you can see by the percentages, they're rising as the year goes on, um, especially during COVID. Um, I also wanted to talk about the Webster definition of burnt out. Exhaustion of physical or emotional strength or motivation, usually as a result of prolonged stress or frustration. And I want to relate this back to my Deren, in ways such as, I mean, this might be a very abstract way of thinking about it, but after the possession, most of them, if not all of them, just fainted out of exhaustion, um, letting their community grab them after they've endured such a vigorous experience. Very exhausting. She even talks about it whenever she experienced this white darkness, about how she achieved this like second wind, and she like didn't even know that her legs were like moving, and she was like sore. She just kept dancing. Sooner or later, it just didn't even hurt after a while. So in society nowadays, you know, we continue to work. Um, we continue to make that paycheck, to survive. Um, we are possessed by that culture to do this. Um, and I also wanted to relate to the quote of "one cannot be man and God at the same at once" on page 249. Um, she says this, and I feel like we could relate God in this situation to being the rich. Work with me here. um, and man being the working class. And that's how I would want to bring up questions like this in my conclusion. Um, if we were to ascend from this working class, um, to become rich, would we be any different than the rich that is existing? Um, would we lessen any of the effects of capitalism, knowing what being in the working class is like? Um, and does this possession occur of free will? Um, do we want this to happen? Do we just let this happen? Um, or do we have to let it happen because that's just what society tells us what to do? Um, in fear of being alienated, I suppose. And if we don't work, we're often said to be a bum or lazy, or on the streets in general. We even romanticize van life. A lot of this generation living in your van, um, living in your car. let's just say. Um, but I wanted to close out my statement um, saying that we, the working class, are the divine horsemen for the rich. The divine horsemen being those of which getting possessed. Um, and yeah,